Hi, I'm Daz. I was going to a radio rally, and on the way back I called into a house clearance sort of barn, and it was full of stuff. There was quite a lot of Roberts radios, but I had a look at what was available. There's an RT22, but I've got one. There was a RIC one, but with the state of long and medium wave, I didn't really want that. So I found this. This is a Roberts RC35. I've no idea what year it is. I'm assuming it's black. It could be the 90s. There was a second radio cassette there, which is in a slightly better condition, a newer version of this, but I looked at it and thought, yeah, this looks a very much later model, because there wasn't even a proper erase head in the cassette deck, so I just decided to go for this one. It says spares £5, that's what I paid for it, and I'm not sure what's wrong with it, or even if it's repairable, so I thought I'd come back with this one. As you can see, it's got 4 presets for VHF. It's got radio beat. Now I assume that's something to adjust the bias frequency to avoid any problems with long and medium wave. There is no scale for VHF because you've got those 4 presets. Does it have soft eject? Oh yes, well, sort of. So what I think I might do is gradually bring it up and see where we are. I don't know what state the battery compartment's in. Yeah, I can see a bit of corrosion on the positive terminal there. Probably might not show up, but it might do. So yeah, I know this isn't that vintage, but I thought I'd go for it anyway. I thought I might have a bit of fun, and it's not a lot of money, so ooh, not very loud. Well, I think a bit of contact cleaner is definitely needed there.
Enjoy a buffet and try our raffle. Come along to the house, 33 Bewley Road, Hamberley.
Let's have a go. Oh yes. Well, it looks like we have a radio operation.
Went right round the gallery.
So that's good, but obviously a clean up is needed. What's to suspect? It might just be a belt. Let's see. Play. Ah yes. So there's no operation there at all, though I thought I heard a motor go. Pinch wheel's not going round, and also the take-up reel. So nothing there. No, it's not the pause control. So perhaps we need a drive belt. Can I hear a motor running? Yes, I believe so. There's a small amount of interference on the amplifiers you'd expect. So I guess we might be lucky here, and all we need is a belt, some contact cleaner and pot cleaner, and I think we might be going. So as usual, I start a video and then forget where I am. I think we looked at this and determined that the cassette player wasn't working, although the radio did, and it needs a good clean. So let's have a look. That's going to be to hold the aerial in, so we'll leave that alone. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws there. Is there anything in the battery compartment? Yes. Right, I'll get them out and we'll have a look what's going on inside. Ooh, good grief. They must have been done up tight. Now, yes, it would help if I removed the tuning knob, looks of it. It's got to come off. Ooh. There we go. Perhaps now it'll reveal its secrets, perhaps. Ah, maybe not. It looks like the volume knob's got to come off as well. Ooh, it's grubby under there. So I'm wondering whether, yes, withdrawal from this end downwards. Ooh, there we go. There we go. One radio is revealed. Ooh, an integrated circuit in the radio section at least. And there's the cassette mechanism. Looks familiar. There's a little grubby in here, isn't it? So, looks like the mechanism. Screw there, one here and one here. So 4 of them. Right. Is there a connector on the speaker? If there is, I can't see it. No, it disappears somewhere. 1.5 watt loudspeaker there. Was it 4 ohms? Okay. Interesting, that one's a long screw and these 3 are shorter, so it looks like it's going down there to do something else. Interesting. So what do we find? Yeah, I think that's seen better days, isn't it? So this is like a Tamashii type mechanism. Oh, there should be 2 belts on here. That one's disappeared as well, so I just have to see if I can find something. So there is some connectors on the heads. That just leaves the connector for the switch and the motor power, I guess. So yeah, so that you've got, there's your 2 connectors for the heads, and then you've just got quite stiff cable here for the power for the switch and for the motor power. There looks like there's some yuckiness on that pulley on the motor, so that's going to need cleaning, but we can see the electronics now a little better, can't we? I spy an inductor there, so it's got some form of bias oscillator. Whether that drives the head as the actual head, or whether the head's DC, I don't know. So that looks like the output amplifier. That's the radio chip, as we already mentioned, but I'm trying to think what's doing the tape recorder. Discrete, the looks of it. There's one transistor here, which might be that bias oscillator. There's one here, but I would have thought we'd needed a bit more than that. That's record playback switch. We'd better make sure I clean that as well. Especially when it's just used as a player, which has happens, the contacts oxidize, and then all sorts of strange things start to happen sometimes. It can oscillate when you play back, etc. So, you know, when you're looking at a tape recorder, always check the record playback switch, flick it on and off a few times, and see if it clears any problems you may have. I say that's the radio. I see there's another one in here, isn't there? IC1. Perhaps that's near the FM. Maybe that's front end. That might be the front end for the FM, I don't know. But there's 2 transistors here. Interesting. Maybe that's front end and this is IF. I'll have to look the chips up. No point in speculating, is there really? There's another PCB at the front here. That's for the presets. So there is a tuning capacitor. And I guess that the preset tuning is done by variactor diodes. So, just looking up closely here, these 2 transistors are in fact marked as varicaps. So, they're not transistors. They're just in a case that looks like, you can see the symbols. I think they just about show up on the video. If you look at that one. So just going back to these ICs, that's indeed some good guesses from me. Yeah, that's an FM front end, so that does basically what 2 transistors used to do. This is a FM, AM, IF, and also it's the AM RF, if that makes sense. So the ferrite rod connects to that, and it's got a local oscillator for AM, but the FM bit's done by that chip, and that chip that's underneath the cassette deck now, not only is that an audio amplifier, but it's also an ALC and audio tape functions. So it's a sort of record amplifier, playback amplifier, and a power amp separate, so you should get variable monitor with this. So by tying it to that with this one transistor bias oscillator, it gives you complete AC arrays and bias, and I bet not many manufacturers did that, so that's one good thing there for the Roberts. And with the Vericat tuning, with the presets, that's something else quite unique. So sometimes I just make assumptions about things. Now here's an interesting thing. There, I cannot find the evidence of a second belt. Now, guessing how tight those screws were, I don't think anyone's been in here, so I'm a little bit worried about my initial thoughts that the fact there's two pulleys here, that one went to here and one went to there. It is possible, yes, I know I've stretched it, it is possible that they've done it like that. What's interesting, because they would in theory both go the same way. If your gear ratio wasn't right, because it's going to be difference from here to here to being round this larger pulley that's underneath here, because it's considerably larger, so you presumably end up with fast forward or rewind at the wrong speed. So maybe my initial crash bang thought that oh yeah, it takes two belts may be wrong, because I certainly can't see evidence for another belt laying in here. But it's just this sort of mechanism what I've seen. So okay, just having a look at the motor here, I don't know if those codes give me any idea how old this is. 049Y10, I don't know. Is 04 a clue? Is 10 a clue? Right, so looking at this again, there is two pulleys on this flywheel, but it's pretty obvious that the height, looking at the height, only the bottom flywheel lines up with the motor and the auxiliary pulley here. So it has got to have been a single belt on there, because there was only the one belt. I've not found another one, so obviously my theory of having two belts was a little bit wrong there. Well, that'll keep me busy. That'll keep me busy for a while, won't it? Looking through that lot to try and find a belt. I'm assuming a square section belt's going to be fine. These belts may be okay for something like this, but I just wanted to show you how bad some of these belts can be. Can you see that is very uneven? I think I've got a hungry cat that needs feeding as well. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't use these belts on a piece of hi-fi equipment. I was watching a video the other day and someone said that their Wonky Flutter isn't as good as originally, and I bet half of that is down to the quality of the belts you get now. I think this one might pass. So there we go. As usual, the open end of the pot is facing towards the PCB, but there is a little slot just here, which I think I can get the fader lube in, so I'll put some in there. Ooh, not too much, Darren, because it costs a fortune. These are clean as well. They're quite easy because the contacts are very open on these. I'm just going to use Service 10 in this one, and there isn't really any gaps in these switches. Oh, it's going everywhere. So it's just hoping that it works its way through into the switch mechanism. It's all over the plastic. Never mind. Right, record playback switch. Well, that should be a bit easier. Alright, yes, just access down here. I can see the contacts, so bit of that. Work that in as well. So hopefully that should be all the switch contacts I need to do. Yeah, doesn't look the most levels belts, does it? Right. Does it have auto stop? No, it does not. I suppose the mechanism for that would have been there. So what does it use to release the tape? Oh, that was clever. What does it use to release the tape? Yeah, just the fact it gets taut. However, if you get a tape tangle caused by the front take-up sticking, that won't protect the tape. So yeah, it's just the tape goes taut on there and off it goes. Right, okay. One unfortunate consequence of cleaning the contacts on the slide switches was that I probably washed some grease out of the wherever the ball bearing is, but I've added a bit of petroleum jelly on the top of the switch and the smoothness seems to have returned now, so I think that one, I've saved that one. But that's often the case, you know, you put contact cleaner on a switch and you end up not only cleaning the contact but rinsing out any lubricant that was on the switch to make it operate more smoothly. But that certainly seems to be working its way in now, but something for me to watch out on in future. I think that's testing me that the drive belt isn't wonderful, is it? So this one is 1.2. About 120. This is slightly too loose, but it looks better made than the other ones I've tried so far. Belt number 3. I've had some clicking noises coming from the gears, and what I've noticed is something has got into the gear teeth. So I've removed whatever it was in this one, and now I've got to remove, there's a small black mark which is probably not going to show up at this closeness in this gear, so where that's come from I do not know. That's much better, silence at last. So yeah, just some whatever it was foreign body in the gear teeth. So that's playback, and it's connected to there, which is clutched for your take up, and then you've got fast forward, which is around that way, and you got rewind, which is this gear to here. But yeah, it sounds nice and quiet now. Right, let's stick the 5 screws back in again and try again. Well, that's a lot better than it was, and probably the best you're going to get with a small recorder. Another thing you have to be careful is to make sure these cables are routed how you found them, so they don't foul up on the drive belt or anything else. Good, okay. Right. Let's get the 4 screws back in now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the long one goes in there. There we go. My favourite is catching the record playback head wire on the record playback switch, so yeah, that goes in there, and this one should pop for the erase head, should pop in there and then keep out the way of the drive belt. Curiously, you can probably see this better than me because the light is shining on the oscilloscope, but I believe that's 75 kilohertz on the record playback head. Let's just have a look at the arrays head. 75 kilohertz, that's very good. So actually we have AC arrays and AC bias if the probe will stay on. So that's very good for a little tape recorder like this. Right, quick clean of the heads and the pinch roller. So I think I'll put this back together and call that done. So with its AC bias and on the arrays head and presets, I think it makes it a little bit more unique than a lot of the little mini radio cassettes of this era. So at least they haven't cut any corners on the tape recorder, although I think that type of auto stop I would have liked to have seen one on the front reel, so not too bad.
Everything we wanted it to be, we could bring it to life.
Get bloody stakes from out of my back, sir.
People.
Presence. You know, one heard that a lot. The same. Supplies and lastgamble.org.
One
Do this with silver foxes in Siberia.
Well, that's about it on medium one long wave now. So a quick demonstration of the beat switch. You can hear a whine on this long wave frequency. There you go. And all it does is it just shifts the bias oscillator frequency slightly, because that's the problem with having a 75 kilohertz oscillator inside a medium wave radio. It tends to mix with things, so that's what the beat switch does. It just shifts the bias oscillator frequency. Okay, let's see what the recording's like.
The Council in South London have got together because they've identified something culturally about the barbershop experience that seems to have worked, and to try and revive that.
Playback.
Identified something culturally about the barbershop experience that seems to have worked.
So yeah, with the AC bias and arrays, very good recording. I'm quite impressed, so that's not bad at all. 2, 1. So that was the Roberts RC35 radio cassette. Just trying the internal microphone. No doubt it will pick up lots of noise from the machine itself, but that's fairly normal. So not a bad little machine with its preset VHF stations and a reasonable tape recorder. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.